Hi, I'm Laurie Stolarz, and I'm really excited to talk to you today about my newest release called Jane Anonymous. Jane comes out January 7th, 2020, and I'm really excited about it. So, my first couple of questions are about the inspiration for writing Jane and what my creative process was like. So, I really had wanted to write a story of abduction or kidnapping for a while now, but I wasn't exactly sure what I could contribute to an already really solid list. There are lots of books on abduction. We've certainly seen it also in movies and film, TV. So I wasn't really sure what I could add to the list. But I was also really interested in exploring the topic of loss. So when we think about loss, we typically think about the loss of a person or a pet, but I was also interested in exploring the loss of time and innocence and a sense of self. So, my main character hides under the guise of Jane Anonymous as she writes about her time in captivity, where she's kept for 7 months in a room. There are no windows. There's a bed and an adjoining bathroom, and she's given some necessities and toiletries and some meals through a cat door. But she never knows if it's daytime or nighttime because the person who took her is in charge of the light. And then the story is also told on the timeline of now. So when she's back from captivity, how she tries to acclimate back into her former life. So typically, when something traumatic strikes, we're all given what people would like to think of as an acceptable amount of time to grieve and heal, and then hopefully we're able to move on afterwards. So we get to see Jane after and what that healing process is like for her. So once she gets back, the people in her life are supportive and they're so beyond ecstatic to have her back, and they want to do whatever they can for her to help her heal. But then what happens when that allotted window of time closes and the individual simply can't move on? So, what happens to the person then? So, Jane, she goes through different modes of therapy and she does everything that she's supposed to that you could imagine in terms of engaging in the therapeutic process, but still she's not able to move on. And when that window of time closes, then she sees that the people in her life, start to get frustrated with her and disappointed that she's no longer that person that she once was. So Jane is back, but she's still very much gone. And when she comes back, when you think about it, she's back in her room and she has her wardrobe and all of her old friends, but she's no longer able to identify with her former self. So we have that loss. And then we have the loss that she experiences as a result of being a disappointment to all of the people in her life, who had wanted, if you asked them, they would only want to support her and they would never want anything bad or negative associated with their relationship. But it's just it's the fallout of the experience because she isn't able to be that person that she once was. So to research for the book, which is my next question, I read everything I could about kidnapping and abduction. Also watched a lot of crime TV. It gave me an excuse to watch TV and movies. And I also, because I was really interested, like I said, in the after, right, post-trauma, I did a lot of research on that period of time trying to acclimate back in whatever safer space we're talking about after a traumatic experience. With that, I interviewed lots of people who have experienced loss in different capacities. So everything from the loss of a job to the loss of a loved one. So I talked to people who had lost a child, those who had lost a spouse, a best friend. And, though some might say, well, Jane's experience is very specific and out of the ordinary, what I learned was that, even though certainly abduction is not as typical as maybe the loss of a person or a job, but still a lot of the same emotions and a lot of the emotional journey that Jane goes through can be applied to other areas of loss as well, or other instances of loss as well. And then my next question is, what do I want the takeaway to be for readers of the book? So certainly with respect to therapy, I really feel that there's no one size fits all. So typically when we think about therapy, we think about talk therapy, but there are so many other modes of therapy. There's art therapy, music therapy. Jane engages in a sort of therapy with animals. So there's, different ways to go through the therapeutic process, and, sometimes you just have to try things out and see what works. If one does engage in talk therapy, definitely there's no one size fits all there. Sometimes you have to try different therapists to find one that actually works. So we see that in the novel as well. And then my other takeaway, it kind of goes without saying, but just to practice kindness and compassion, because, one thing that I learned through all of my research is that we're all broken in some way, some more than others. And I think we're all just doing our best to pick up those broken pieces as best we can and carry them forward with us from day to day as best we can. So thank you so much for checking out Jane Anonymous, and I hope you'll enjoy it.